Her trip with friends. I have been married to my wife for 4 years now, and we have been together for a total of 6. She's a wonderful mother to our children and a genuinely compassionate person. Her profession involves caring for others, and that nurturing nature shows in how she raises our kids. I cannot overstate how highly I think of her as a person, or how grateful I am for what she brings to our family. However, when it comes to the dynamic of our marriage, affection, intimacy, openness about feelings, there are areas where I feel we have room to grow. I tend to be the more affectionate one, the more eager to express my love openly, while she is a bit more reserved. A few months ago, she decided to go on a trip with friends to Nashville for a week. I was happy about it. I believed she deserved the break, a chance to relax and have fun, especially since it was her first trip away like this since we got married and started a family. I imagined her enjoying that freedom and returning refreshed. Throughout the trip, she kept in decent contact. Texts, maybe a quick call. I appreciated that. It made me feel involved, as if I were still part of her life while she was away enjoying her time. When she got back home, I was overjoyed to see her. I missed her a lot. I was hoping for a warm reunion, maybe a moment for just the two of us, before switching back to parent modal. But when she arrived, while she seemed happy enough, I felt like her excitement focused more on seeing the kids than reconnecting with me. I got a quick hug and a kiss, and then it was back to the usual hustle. Mom mode kicked in at full speed. I even suggested we grab breakfast together before picking the kids up, thinking we could catch up, talk about her trip, and reconnect it. But it never quite happened in the way I hoped. Now here's where things get tricky. Call it intuition or overthinking, but not long after her return, something felt off. One of our children happened to pick up her phone briefly, and she reacted more strongly than usual, seeming almost alarmed. This wasn't typical behavior for her. We don't usually let the kids play with our phones, but this small moment caught my attention. It sparked a nagging worry in my mind. I wondered, why did she react like that? Is something on her phone that she doesn't want anyone to see? That evening, my curiosity got the better of me. I'm not proud of it, but I ended up looking through her phone. It wasn't something I had done before or a habit I want to continue, but I felt compelled to check if something was there. I found nothing glaringly damning, no explicit evidence of wrongdoing, yet I stumbled upon 2 things that have stuck in my head ever since. And first, I noticed she had added some guy on Snapchat. That alone might not mean much, but paired with the context, it raised questions. Second, in a group photo from her trip, there were 2 unknown men standing right next to her and her friends, as if they were all part of the same group. I confronted her about these things. I know this immediately puts her on the defensive, but I felt I needed answers. She explained the Snapchat situation. Apparently, one of her younger friends, who is single, had tried adding this guy on Snapchat and sent him a snap, but didn't get a response. My wife claims she added the guy herself just to send him a snap and test if he would reply. The logic, as she explained it, was to figure out whether he was actively ignoring her friend or just not responding for some reason. She says it was all innocent, a sort of loyalty test to see if the guy was blowing off her friend. Of course, I pointed out how if I did something like that, adding a woman on Snapchat for a test, she would find it suspicious and be upset. That caused tension, but eventually I let it go, not wanting to blow it out of proportion. The second issue, the photo with the unknown men, still bothers me more. I asked her about it. She said that at a certain bar, a guy approached and offered to buy her a drink, and she refused. Then, according to her, these men and her group of friends were just mingling in the same area of the bar, chatting briefly here and there. At some point, a photo was taken downstairs in front of a band, and these men just popped in next to them. She says she didn't invite them, didn't have time to say no, and just ended up with them in the picture. She tries to brush it off as no big deal. It sounds small when I write it down, but this detail nags at me. In my mind, I wonder, why would complete strangers feel so comfortable joining a photo with her and her friends? Typically, that doesn't happen unless there's already a friendly rapport, or an understanding that it's okay. And if she didn't want them in the picture, why not say something? She claims it all happened too fast, and that she felt awkward refusing. I can see that scenario playing out, but it leaves a lingering doubt. It's a gut feeling that something about her story doesn't add up entirely, or at least that she's not telling me everything. We haven't really resolved this. Every time I bring it up, we end up arguing. She gets mad, and I end up feeling like the villain for not just accepting her explanation. It's been about a month since we last talked about it. I'm left with a lingering sense of unease. No, there isn't concrete evidence she did anything terrible, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm not getting the whole truth. or that I'm missing some important nuance in these interactions. This might be my own insecurity, or a reaction to feeling somewhat dismissed by her after her return. I'm aware I may be reading too much into small incidents, yet I also believe it's fair to want reassurance and clarity, especially when your gut tells you something feels off. I question myself, am I overreacting? Possibly. The photo might indeed have been a harmless snapshot of a moment at a bar, with no deeper meaning. The Snapchat ad might just have been a silly, misguided favor for a friend. But I also think trust and open communication are crucial. Her being dismissive, flipping the script and making me out to be the bad guy for doubting her, doesn't help me feel secure. It makes me wonder if my concerns are valid or if I'm just paranoid. In a healthy marriage, it should be possible to discuss these things calmly. I want to trust her. I do trust her, mostly. But these incidents introduced a tiny crack in that trust, and I'm not sure how to seal it shut without talking it through. She might feel attacked or guilty for something harmless, while I feel brushed aside when I try to understand her perspective. Maybe I need to approach it differently. Instead of accusing or questioning her every detail, maybe I should explain how these incidents made me feel unimportant, insecure, overlooked, and see if she can understand and reassure me. Or maybe I need to accept her explanations at face value and move on, focusing on the positive aspects of our relationship and the fact that she came home to her family, spent the trip staying in touch, and that there's no undeniable evidence of wrongdoing. But it's hard to let it go completely when it's still on my mind. The silent treatment or avoiding the topic hasn't helped. I'm at a crossroads. Either I trust her word and move forward, or I find a better way to communicate my feelings and seek some mutual understanding. Right now, I feel stuck, and I hate that feeling. So, am I overreacting? Maybe I am out. Nothing here screams betrayal. Maybe it's all innocent. Still, I wish I felt more at ease. I wish she would understand that my questioning comes from a place of love and insecurity, not from a desire to control or accuse her. If we could just talk about it calmly, maybe I could let it go, and we could both move on, stronger and closer than before.